Hey, Shalom Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakatham to all the brothers in Israel. Shalom Yahweh Shamar Ilathah Ba'Shem Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK out of the one with 125th Street, Harlem, New York. I'm the Commander General Yohanan. Understand? And today is the Tuesday Brotherhood class. You understand? So today, as the topic says, we're going to be going over our enemy's warfare and their weapons of choice. All right. So basically, just to give y'all a little sneak peek on what I mean by that is, we're going to be going over what the weapons of choice our enemies, our oppressors are using against us. All right. Sure, there is the physical weapons, but we're also going to go over some of the psychological weapons that their primary psychological weapons, I should say, that they are using against us, in this spiritual warfare that we are fighting right now here in the four corners of the earth, especially in America and in the UK. Hey, Shalom, Lord of Christ, sir. It's good to see you in the class. Right. So before we do that, I'm just going to ask that everybody does their part to make sure that they like, share, and share the YouTube page. And subscribe. ISUPK Nevada. You understand? Make sure that we all do our part to pushing out this truth to the four corners of the earth. You understand? And then also, of course, to go onto our Facebook page, ISUPK Las Vegas, and like and share the videos there. Make sure you make sure you like the page as well. We are, like I've been saying every week, we're about to upload some more some more content aside from just our classes. You understand? We've got some we've got some good content coming in, basically revealing I don't know if intelligence is the correct word to use when describing a Christian, but exposing. So I guess you could say we were exposing the mindset of these Christians. You understand? So if you want to be able to see some of the questions that we had asked these Christians, and of course hear the answers that they had given us to these questions, such as one of my questions is, do you believe that Emmett Till and his false accuser are going to be sharing the same heaven together? You understand? If you want to see what these Christians think about that, you understand, based off of their belief system, man, the best way to hear these types of questions and interviews and whatnot is by subscribing and liking our Facebook and YouTube pages. You understand? Just give me 1 second to for me to share myself, and then we'll get into the topic, of course. Unless there's anybody online that has any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. I will answer your questions to the best of my ability scripturally. If I'm unable to do so myself, I'll be sure to take your questions to a man higher than myself to get your question answered. You understand? We're not like the Christian church where we're going to sit here and fill your ears up with things that sound nice, make you feel good or whatever. You understand? We're here to edify our people with the truth. You understand? You can't edify anybody by telling them something that isn't true. You understand? I'm trying to find, there we go. All right, there we go. Right. 1 second, finish sharing it for myself. So with this topic, I'm going to read a couple of articles and, of course, bring some scriptures out that go along with them. Slovakia, right? I'm going to start off with this article about this soldier who's stationed at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. That's where I was stationed out when I was in the white man's military. I guess he had admitted to wanting to conduct a genocidal murder You understand? Try and kill as many blacks, black and browns is the way he put it, people, as he could single-handedly. You understand? We're gonna go over that article right there. Hey, Shalom with the Christ, sis. It's good to see you. Shalom with the Christ, trooper. Good to see you in the class. Make sure you keep coming in these classes, trooper. All right. So okay, so that's pretty much it. Let me kill all that. Bring up the article. And again, I'll just say, just because there's still people walking into the classroom. If there's anybody online that has any questions, to feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability scripturally. You understand? No, it's here. That's where it's at. Slovakia. Okay. So this is by CBS17.com. So that's the news channel out there in North Carolina, Slovakia, right? Cumberland County News: Fort Bragg soldier with genocidal goal to eliminate minorities pleads guilty to gun charge, U.S. attorney says. So, just starting off with the title of this article, and of course going off with the title of my class, you understand? Obviously, we're starting off with the physical portion of our enemy's warfare weapons of choice, right? And this right here, this is actually not just physical, but it's also a spiritual weapon that they have, right? Now, what do I mean by the spiritual weapon? Well, if you look at how blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are being treated, not only just treated by our oppressor, the so-called white man, but you also look on the flip side of the coin on how they are treating us. Left and right, we keep on seeing that they want to, these people want to do things to eradicate us, to kill us off, to do away with us, and at very best, keep us around as slaves still. What was that, like a year or two ago, I believe it was, when it was really big, where like they were recording like high school students and, like freshman college students and stuff like that, saying like racist, saying racist things and whatnot, and how some of them were defending us, whatever. But the point is how a lot of those comments, a lot of the things that were recorded from like these cheerleaders, I believe it was some high school cheerleaders or maybe it was college cheerleaders, but how they were saying how, they were going in on, the best thing that they ever did was free us from slavery. And no, she said the worst thing that they did for us was free us from slavery. They should have kept us in chains because that would have kept us in order. And that wasn't the only person to say something like that in those series of videos that were being that were coming to the surface to reveal the spirit of these people, to reveal how they truly feel about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I actually believe that happened during, it was either at the very beginning of Biden becoming president, or it was during the time period of Trump, which I think it actually is the time period of Trump, because if, quite frankly, all these devils, their spirits were, how their spirits were being revealed. The way that they view us, how they, you understand, the way that they view us, the way that they feel about us was, for those entire 4 years, was a beautiful thing. Trump being in office has been the best. Trump being in office, in my opinion, in Iraq's opinion, is the best president that the United States has had since, actually, just period. Because Trump brought forth the spirit of this country. Trump brought forth and unveiled the spirit of this country and the spirit of his people on how they feel towards blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It began the revelation of how these people really feel towards us, and which is part of their arsenal of weaponry, which is their hate. You understand? Not only are they using their physical weapons and bullets, you understand, and batons, hell, their boots and their fists, you understand, whatever manner of weapon that they decide to utilize to get their job, to get the job that they want to be completed done. You understand? Those are just the physical weaponry, but one of their biggest weapons is their hate. You understand? And it all goes together, side by side. I mean, quite frankly, the crazy thing is their hatred for us is so bad that they taught us to hate our own, because they are using our love against us. You understand? Because quite frankly, our brothers and sisters in the world, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in the world, and we love that doggone white man, which we need to stop. You understand? We love that white man so doggone bad that we're willing to forgive him for massacring our people, but then we'll go on the street corners and massacre our own people, whether it's with guns or it's with drugs, being home wreckers, what have you. You understand? So that right there kind of, lets you know that there's more than one type of weapon that is being utilized against us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to keep us divided, to keep us from unifying, so are coming together. Salaki, I don't want to use that word unifying. It's kind of Christian in my opinion, Salaki. But from coming together, you understand, as the nation that is not desired, so that we can provoke the Most High God. Because quite frankly, they know that's what is going to happen, right? But I don't want to get too sidetracked, right? I do want to get into this article for y'all. So I'm going to read it from the top. Cumberland County News: Fort Bragg soldier with genocidal goal to eliminate minorities pleads guilty to gun charge, U.S. attorney says. This was published April 26, 2023, and then last updated April 27th, 2023, right? A Fort Bragg soldier who wished to eliminate many minorities in North Carolina counties pleaded guilty to possessing an unregistered short barrel rifle, a United States attorney said. So let me tell y'all something just really quick, because I've already read this article. They go in to find out, or you go as you read, you'll come to learn to find out that this devil is staying on base in the barracks. All right. So when you're in the military, you're not allowed to have weapons on base. I know it sounds kind of stupid because, you're the Army. There's weapons everywhere. You're blowing stuff up, this, that, and the other. You're not allowed to have weapons and bullets on the base. Actually, when they go to the shooting range and, the explosive ranges, they're actually off post. So you would go get your weapon out of the armory, and then everybody would load up in the LMTVs and then drive off post onto the shooting ranges and the explosive ranges, right? So this man had weapons in his barracks. Wasn't supposed to. You understand? And that's something very important to know. All right. Noah Edwin Anthony, 23. Now, this dude is 23 years old. Let's all be honest. All right. Think about, for those of y'all that are, we'll say, 28 and older, right? Think about the dumb decisions that you made when you was 23. Or just think about the things the type of person that you were when you was 23, especially for those of y'all that were in the truth, or that were not in the truth at the age of 23. And just think about the decisions that you made at the age of 23, especially without the truth being in your life, right? And you look back on that today and you just, man, I was young, I was stupid. So in other words, man, this is letting you know, this is a young ass cat who don't know anything about anything, quite frankly. He's still getting his feet wet with becoming an adult. But one thing that he does know is that he was prepared to put himself into a situation where, now he is a white man, so of course he probably didn't think it was going to be that dangerous on his end, but he was prepared to damn near die to, what does the article say? Fort Bragg soldier with genocidal goal to eliminate minorities You understand? He was prepared to die for a goal that he had set. And the crazy thing is it was a goal that he had set to accomplish here in America, against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, not against the Afghanis, not against the Iraqis, not against any of the Russians, not against Ukrainians, not against the Chinese, the Taiwanese, not against anybody else. You understand? But blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the blacks and browns of this country. You understand? This boy who just got his feet wet for the first doggone time into adulthood is already setting big goals. Like he's goddamn Adolf Hitler regenerated, Salakia. You understand? Where he's ready to commit genocide? A genocide? His goal is to commit a genocide against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? Let me get a scripture for y'all just really quick. I believe it's Lamentations is where I want to go for this one, right? It was a Lamentations 4:18. Let me get there real quick. Salakia should have been sitting on. Oh, I am sitting on it. Damn. See, look, I was prepared, didn't even know it. The Lord was with me on that one. Salakia. All right, this is the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 18. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. So let's break that down, right? They hunt our steps. They hunt our steps. Man, they are. First of all, when you go into the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and I believe you go into 20, I think it's just 20, it's 26. It's after 25, before the end of chapter, when it's either 26 or 27. I'm just going to paraphrase it. Actually, no, we're going to pull it. We're going to pull it because this is a good side-by-side scripture to get an understanding of who our oppressor is. You understand? Because quite frankly, that's exactly what we need to do. That's exactly what we are doing in the ISUPK, is revealing who our oppressors are. And of course, edifying our people to teach them who they actually are according to this Bible, according to the Most High God. You understand? To know both sides of that coin is extremely important for our people as a nation, as a people. You understand? Because quite frankly, the fact that we don't know who we are and we don't know who they are is what is keeping us destroyed. You understand? And just to paraphrase it, just like what the Most High God has said, for my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because you don't know both sides of the coin, let alone even one side of the coin. You believe that, it's damn near it's a flat earth. It's a flat earth. There's no bottom side of the coin. Everybody is the same. We are all one race, and that's the human being race. Right? You understand? It's because of that type of mentality, that type of mindset is why we continue to be in the position that we are in being a people who are destroyed. Right? So it's the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. You understand? So the so-called white man, his forefather is Esau. Okay? So these people, and we all know it, these people love to goddamn sleep outside, to go and shoot and eat and kill all the goddamn animals that they possibly can. You understand? And quite frankly, I mean, hell, there's a book basically written about it. I don't think it was based off of true events, although it wouldn't surprise me if it was really happening, but it's called The Most Dangerous Game, right? It's this really wealthy hunter who would have minorities be go and be kidnapped, right, from, in America, or actually all over the world, and they'd be brought into his private island. And, this wealthy hunter would go into the island, give him like X amount of time, so the person can, kind of get their grounding, get familiar with the land or whatever. And then he would go and hunt them. You understand? The most dangerous game is hunting a man, right? But the point is that these white folk, like, that's what they live to do, is be out in the field, running with the lions and tigers and bear. Oh my, this man has got some nasty, dirty ass bare feet on, because he's a wild man. He's a man of the field. So like, he's not the wild man, even though he is kind of wild. You understand? But he is, this man is wild. He's a man of the field, constantly trying to hunt something. Everything up in north and south of the food chain, which includes you, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. You understand? So when we go back to the book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 18, they hunt our steps. Who else hunts our steps? Who else is being hunted in the world, on this earth? And quite frankly, in the four corners of the earth as well. This isn't just happening here in America. You understand? That's why they came out with that movie with the little puppets off of Comedy Central. What is it called? Team America World Police. Understand? Like, think about just how much they're actually policing these other countries. But they really do come down on Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans within all four corners of the earth. You understand? And of course, there are Blacks, Hispanic, and Native American natives in South Korea, in China, in parts of Africa, in Canada, and South America. We're all over. We're scattered. We are scattered to the four corners of the face of the earth, right? So it doesn't. But my point to that is that it doesn't matter what your nationality is. You might be an actual, your nationality. Yeah, your nationality may be you're American. Your nationality may be Chinese. Your nationality may be East Indian. They don't care. Their spirit recognizes your spirit. You understand? It sees your spirit and it hates your spirit to the point where they want to hunt you down. You understand? We will always be found out. In good time, we'll always be found out who we really are, and that is the nation of Israel, God's chosen people. You understand? The 12 tribes of Israel, the real Israelites, the real Jews. You understand? But they come and hunt our steps. But the primary hunter is that so-called white man going around just hunting us out. I mean, hell, why else would you have police officers who never have been in these ghetto neighborhoods ever, aside from until they was put into a patrol car and was assigned into that neighborhood? Never been into that neighborhood. Why would you do that? Especially considering the fact that you have these, young Black men, these young Black women, Hispanic men and women, these Hispanic Native American men and women who join the police force for the sake of they want to make their neighborhoods better, but they're not putting them in their own neighborhoods. Now, this is also not me condoning that we should go and put on that uniform to, that American, any type of American uniform to try and make America better in any regards. You understand? The way that you're going to make it better, our neighborhoods better, our people better, is just simply follow the law, statutes, and commandments. We separate from we separate from these people who hate us in the first place. You understand? Quite frankly, we could teach you all that here in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. You understand? But why is it that they want, if these people were really about fixing crime, eliminating crime, why would you put somebody that is, a people who are constantly on edge already, always saying left and right? You hear the same doggone excuse every single doggone time, doggone time that they murder one of us. They're afraid. They're always afraid. So why would you put a scared lion, you understand, in a cage with other lions, with a whole pride of lions? Like, listen, that pride of lions is going to sniff out that scared lion, and okay, well, we're going to jump him, eliminate this fear, Because you know what? At the end of the day, fear is contagious. So we're gonna go ahead and take this lion out, or that lion is gonna, attack them first. You understand? Which essentially, that's not what the pride wants. So you're creating conflict in that way because they don't know you and you don't know them. I don't see how that could even be a problem to the solution. Aside from the fact that this is what they want. They want to be in a position to spill your blood because they hate you and they love to hunt. You understand? That we cannot go in our streets, man. And like, that's the point, because for the most part, of course, you have your stories. Like, I believe the sister's name was Breonna Taylor, who had been killed in her own house. Right. I know there's countless others. And Salaki, I can't remember, right off the top of my head, but there's countless other brothers and sisters who have been killed in their own house, especially when they're not even supposed to be in that house in the first place. And I'm saying they, as in the police, being at that house in the first place. This scripture is letting you know we can't even go into our own streets. Majority of us being killed, it's in our own streets. You understand? When every time that you turn on the news and you see one of our people, black and brown, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans being killed in the street, just understand that the scripture already warned you of this, already told you that these things were going to happen. So this white boy in the United States Army, you understand, this has been forewarned that this is going to happen. You understand? Because what, you think he's going to kidnap these people and bring them back to his barracks and kill them? No, he's going out in the streets to go and hunt you down like you are a rabid animal. You understand? Because that's how they view and feel about you, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man. That right there should just let you know in itself that you need to separate from them. Anybody who thinks of you any lesser than what you are, why would you keep them in your life? You understand? Especially, like, take for example, like the sisters in the world, right? They're real quick to drop a nigga drop a nigga out of their lives when, because a brother didn't know her worth, but yet let a white man not know your worth, whether it's in a relationship or just in general of the world, you still gonna love that devil. You understand? And you hate your brother. You hate that black man. And we have to turn that around. You understand? Or else, you know what, quite frankly, this genocide goal that these devils have, man, they're going to start carrying it out, and there's nothing you can do. You have nobody to lean on. But you learn to love the Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, you'll have a place to come. And quite frankly, come learn that in the ISUPK so you can have a safe haven. You understand? You can be taught how to love and have that safe haven. You understand? All right, so I know I went a little long-winded with that. Let's read on. Noah Edwin Anthony, age 23, had evidence of a preliminary self-titled operation found on his electronic devices with the goal to physically remove as many of Black and brown people from Hoke, Cumberland, Robeson, and Scotland counties by whatever means need be, according to a release from U.S. Attorney Michael Easley for the Eastern District of North Carolina. So in other words, this man was, coming up with some elaborate plan to kill as many Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Let me get that scripture for you real quick. That they rise up thinking of evil. Thinking of evil. I believe it's in Psalms. Or is it Micah? Yeah. The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. So let's break that down, right? Woe to them that devise iniquity. Man, death and destruction to them that create
that put together inequity. You understand? This man literally put together a plan to kill the greatest people on the face of the earth because of his hatred for you. You understand? And work evil upon their beds. So from the time that they are going, they wake up to the time that they are going to sleep, they're working out this evil. You understand? They're thinking about this evil. How am I going to get this done? They're planning this out, putting things into motion, buying ammunition, buying the weapons buying the weapons and the weapons parts and whatnot, so that they'll have the weaponry, they'll have the armory for themselves to go and carry out these these evil, wicked, goddamn plans that they have of murdering us. You understand? When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. So in the morning, at first light, we all know ain't nobody likes getting up early in the morning. At first, matter of fact, before the sun doggone comes up, like the white man, ain't nobody like getting up like him. First, before even the crack of dawn, he's already up, ready to put into motion whatever wickedness that he has came up with from the night before, that he was up all night thinking about. They damn near don't even go to sleep because they so occupied with just the wicked works that they want to work out first thing in the morning. That's why they get up so early, because they're already up. You understand? Ready to work that out like a new kid. Like, remember the first day of school when the first day of school of the year, got our we got our all fresh our fresh clothes, lay them all out, have them all ready to prepare. Damn near, it's time to go to bed. Damn near can't even go to sleep because you're just excited to put that on and go to school and stomp on everybody. That's basically like the white man, but with just the works of inequity. You understand? Where he just can't wait to put those works in. And quite frankly, it's because it is in the power of his hand to do so. You understand? It's in his own power to do just that. Mind you, like I had told y'all, I said it earlier, and it'll reveal later in this article that this man was living in the barracks and his little armory was in his barracks. You understand? He was storing all his weapons and ammunition in his barracks. And we're not allowed to have those things in the army. Living in the barracks, you can't have those things on post. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So, but he can. How is it that he is able to? Now, of course, yeah, sure, he got caught up, whatever. But for the time that he had it, though, and who knows how long he had it? It doesn't reveal that in the article. The point is we know it was longer than just 24 hours, 48 hours. You understand? There's checkpoint checks where they, you got to show your ID and they'll pull you to the side, but damn near rip your car apart, to do a car search to make sure that no weapons are being smuggled in there. You understand? Nothing that can cause destruction can be smuggled in there. You understand? Okay, reading on. Anthony faces up to 10 years in prison when sentenced later this year. So this man was planning on committing genocide against people. They found his whole elaborate plan on his electronic devices, pled guilty to the gun charges, but there's no really disputing his plan to commit genocide, right, against Black and brown people, against Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people, right? And he's only facing up to 10 years in prison. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the fake Jews, the Jewish people, aren't they prosecuting and putting the Nazis that they find to death? Weren't they still putting them to death, or at least there was a life sentence in prison, or so? They was getting a much worse sentence. Now, sure, you can make the argument that, they actually did these things. He was planning it out. Well, you're only giving this man 10 years, and we all know that the that the American prison system is not about reforming. So now he's going to be sitting in there for 10 years, coming up with an even more elaborate plan. So don't be surprised if in 2033, 2034, depending on when he gets, actually sentenced and locked up, don't be surprised if some white boy comes out with a gang of, Aryan Brotherhood, neo-Nazi wannabes, fresh out of prison, and is just massacring Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? Don't be surprised if it's this Anthony dude. If this Anthony dude comes up, you understand? Because what are they ultimately doing by putting him in 10 years maximum at that, just up to 10 years in prison? They're putting him in a place to find people who are more like-minded like him. It's gonna be easy for him to find another Aryan Brotherhood, another neo-Nazi, another KKK, whatever the hell he's all associated with. You understand? You're damn near putting him into a place for him to recruit other people to carry out his goal of genocide on Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? And if that is not a revelation on how this justice system is against you, Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man, I don't even know what to call it there. I don't even know what you would call it. You understand? Because you just put all the pieces together. Like, think about it, all the movies and books that you read about these, when criminals make these big, huge not jail busts, these bank robberies and, these, what are they called? They get like the bank heists and stuff like that. What are the two places, if they're not in both, but what are the two places that the people who conduct the heist, what is their background? Prison and or the military. We must be setting up for another Hollywood movie in the next 15, 20 years after this dude, conducts this little genocide that, they're allowing him to plan a little bit more. And it's a short time that they're giving him, because he might not get a full 10 years. You understand? But they're giving him plenty of time to recruit, right? According to the court documents and information provided in court, Anthony attempted to enter Fort Bragg on March 3rd, 2022, as gate officers were conducting random vehicle inspections. The gate officer asked Anthony to step out of the vehicle and immediately found a loaded handgun in the center console, according to the release. This handgun was later identified as a Glock-like 9mm privately made handgun. He was making these guns himself. You understand? Commonly known as a ghost gun with no serial number. Anthony was asked if the handgun was registered, and he answered he didn't have any paperwork for it, the release said. Military police then arrived and located 2 extended magazines, ammunition, as well as an American flag with a swastika instead of blue field and stars and other Nazi-type patches, Easley said. So this devil has an affinity towards white supremacy of white supremacist America. You understand? A lot of the KKK have a lot of, Nazi affiliation as, themselves. So, he's pretty much KKK and these little fake Nazis. You understand? And mind you as well, let us not forget that this is one of America's great heroes who signed his life away to defend your freedom, whom of which we all need to thank him for his service. You understand? Y'all understand what I'm saying? because this is just the one who got caught in some time. Because like the article has said, he had other weapons and ammunition and magazines in his room. You understand? When they pulled him over, they pulled him to the side for the vehicle inspection. They found a loaded gun in there that he made, right? But then they go and inspect his room, and there's, what is that? Located 2 extended magazines, ammunition, as well as an American flag with a swastika instead of blue field and stars, and other Nazi-type patches. But hold on, just wait. There's more. A further search of Anthony's room on Fort Bragg resulted in a 3D printed FGC-9 rifle with no serial number, a lower receiver, magazines for various guns, white supremacist literature, T-shirts, patches, and several electronic devices, the release said. You understand? So he had rifles, handguns, he had all sorts of things in there. He was making his own stuff so that he can go and murder, commit a genocide. His goal of, he can complete his goal of genocide on the greatest people on the face of the earth, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But this is America's finest. This is an American hero. Quite frankly, this is somebody who supports making America great again. Remember how earlier we talked about how I said, you know what, Trump is probably the best president that America has ever had. Because it's because of people because of Trump that you have young devil men. I don't even want to call them men, young devil boys who come up with the idea of, you know what, let's just go commit genocide. Let me just take matters into my own hands, because I want America to be great again, and I know how to do it by committing genocide on the greatest people on the face of the earth. You understand? That was his thought process. That is what he planned day in and day out. You understand? Was to go and murder us. But lest you not forget, that is America's greatest. It's America's finest. Defending this country, defending you in your freedom, right? The FGC-9 gun was submitted to the ATF Firearms Laboratory, who confirmed that it was a short barrel rifle less than 16 inches in violation of the National Firearms Act. Additionally, the gun lacked manufacturer marks of identification or serial number and had not been registered as required under the NFA, easily said. Anthony pleaded guilty to possessing a firearm not registered in the National Firearms Registration and Transfer Record. You understand? So that's it for that, for that article. I do have one more article, but I'm gonna read these 2 scriptures that I did have for this article still. Knock those out, and we'll get into the next article I have for y'all. The next weapon, the next choice of weaponry our enemies have for us. Slack, right? But y'all see how these people are trying to take matters into their own hands to eradicate us, to be rid of us, so that we are no more. You understand? And all you want to do, Black, Hispanic, and Native American man that's in the world, is love them. And for what? They do not deserve your love at all. You understand? Not in the slightest. They don't even deserve forgiveness in the slightest until they return everything back to us that was stolen from us, that was taken from us. They have to make everything right. Remember, in the Bible, we serve a righteous God, a God of justice. Well, there's brothers and sisters that have been injured, killed, just destroyed from the acts of these white devils. You understand? These oppressors that the devils that the Bible speaks of. You understand? They have to make those things right. So until then, your apology means nothing. Their apology should mean nothing to you. You understand? All right, so let's get this. The book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So not only is this talking about our oppressors, you understand, how they slay us, they do these things to us, right? All these atrocities that they commit against us, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? But this also brings out what our Black leadership in the world, their mindset. You understand? Like, think about the mindset of Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes and all these Christian pastors and whatnot. How much support they really got behind, prosecuting the police officer that had murdered George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or hell, even Emmett Till. You understand? Think about everybody's stance. Think about the stance of our Black, Hispanic, and Native American leaders. That majority of our people that are in the world that we look up to, which are your pastor, your Christian pastors, priests. I don't even want to call them priests. They don't deserve that title at all. That's what they call themselves. Though we'll call them pedophiles in black suits, right? They, think about how they never sought out to have any type of vengeance, and it's like not any type of justice, not vengeance, like any type of. The sermon wasn't about our people getting murdered, who had become murdered, receiving any type of justice. The sermon and teaching that that would come forward would be about how there needed to be forgiveness. That let's come together and pray that Breonna Taylor's family will be, the Holy Ghost will visit Breonna Taylor's family. You understand? And comfort their family so that they can forgive these police officers who just murdered their daughter, their sister, their auntie, their cousin, their granddaughter, their mother. I'm not sure if Breonna Taylor was a mother, but I believe when that happened, she was with her husband, her boyfriend, what have you, right? When she was shot and killed in bed, right? Let's pray so that all these people who are affected by the murder of this person, that all those people affected can find forgiveness in their hearts of the murder, because Jesus Christ died so that we can all forgive each other. Died for our sins. It was just a mistake, oh Lord Almighty. You know what I'm saying? You understand? I pray that you do. Because again, it says, and their own shepherds pity them not. Tell me that's not them showing any type of pity, any type of, what's the word? empathy. I can't think of the compassion. It's Lockie. Showing absolutely no compassion for the murder, for the dead that were murdered. No compassion. Not even compassion for those that are still that are left behind living. You understand? So again, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Now, mind you, what we just read in that article, the only thing he held himself guilty for was having possession of those guns. But man, I could honestly, me personally, I could care less if he had any guns. Let's talk about this goddamn plan that you had made. Then not only that, but you had an unregistered, you had these makeshift weapons that you made. Who's to say that he had from time to time used them? Killed somebody, left them in a ditch, and there's no way to, find out if, who the shooter was or who what weapon that bullet came out of, because I mean, hell, he was making them himself. He was 3D printing them. You understand? Now, of course, I'm not saying that he did do it, but can you say that he did it? You understand? Who's to say? And of course, he ain't gonna see himself as guilty. He's carrying out his mission plan, and of course, he believes in making America great again. That this Nazi America mindset. This, he had all these white supremacist literature. That's what the article said, right? He had white supremacy literature. So, how do you think he feels if he did actually murder anybody? Or even just the fact that he did it, but he still has the same mindset that he's not even doing anything wrong anyways. He is doing a service for his country and his people. His countrymen and his people. His countrymen and his country. Selected. That's what I meant to say. You understand? He is doing a great service because he's getting rid of those that don't deserve to be in the country that his forefathers had built. You know that these devils be thinking that way, right? That they built this country, that their forefathers put in such terrible, gruesome work to get through the 1800s and the 16 to the 1900s until they were finally kind enough to release us from slavery, building this country up from nothing, civilizing the savages that have once owned and inhabited this land. His forefathers, he was just doing the same service that his forefathers did before. That's his mindset. That's that white supremacist mindset. You understand? And he believed it. I mean, hell, if you got books, if you got plenty of literature, and then you putting up memorabilia, so all you ever see and read every day that you go to sleep and that you wake up, that's the first and the last thing that you see every day. He wholeheartedly believes in what he was doing was a service, was a good thing. You understand? So he can't be guilty, especially in his eyes or his people's eyes, right? And they that sell them say, "Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not." Now, I mean, that's talking about, like I said, the pastors and whatnot, because they're selling us to them. You understand? They're basically, how do you say? They are priming our minds in these Christian churches to be prepared to be slaughtered. And if you're not one of those that are slaughtered, you will be one of those lined up to forgive, to be a part of lead that prayer circle of forgiveness. Because that's what Jesus, our Lord and Savior, would have wanted. You understand? But of course, we all know that Christians don't know the Bible, which, just a quick reminder as well. Make sure that y'all liking and sharing the Facebook page and liking and subscribing our YouTube page. We just did some excellent interviews with these Christians to get, to reveal their mindset and their understanding, their misunderstanding of the Bible. You understand? If you would like to see that, them getting exposed and how much they really don't know about the Bible, make sure that you subscribe to our pages, our social media pages. You understand? So then that way you can see these videos as they come out. You could be the first ones to see these videos. You understand? All right. So now we're going to drop that. Now we're going to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 7. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 7. All right. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 7. All that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Lord, the habitation of justice, even the Lord, the hope of their fathers. You understand? So again, these devils, all throughout this history, you understand, of them dealing with us, them mistreating us, putting their foot on our necks, they don't take any type of responsibility or an accountability for the destruction that has, for the murder and destruction that they have casted on our people, on Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? They're saying, man, they're not offending anybody. At the end of the day, this is your fault. You offended your God, and this is why I'm allowed to do this to you. You understand? Because you sinned against your God. Which this in itself also lets you know as well that, you understand, if we just stop sinning against the Most High God, these atrocities will stop. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans will stop being killed in these streets. We'll stop being hunted like these animals that we are not. You understand? They'll stop treating us like animals. Because you know why? Because when we stop sinning against the Most High God, for one, y'all are gathering together, O nation not desired, like the Lord had commanded you to. You understand? Which I'm actually going to pull that for you. Right? But you're now being obedient to the Most High God. And with your obedience comes a refuge. And then not only that, but that is how we provoke the Most High God to send Yahweh Shai Mashiach, our King. You understand? Or as the world ignorantly knows him as in English, Jesus Christ. That's how we provoke him to send him back here on earth to completely lift these chains up off of our minds, off of our wrists and our ankles. You understand? So that we can now be put into the seat of power of which we were supposed to be in the first place. In other words, that boot that's on our neck, that's knee that's on our neck, those guns that are always being pointed at the back of our heads, even though that we have no weapons, you understand? All of that will be removed and you will be empowered. You understand? Let's get that. Zephaniah. There's 2 in it. Yeah, the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourself, Salaki. 1 second. All right, Salaki. The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. You understand? Man, we all come together like the Lord ordered us to. We're going to provoke the Lord to bring us out of this condition that we are in. So that this warfare that is being conducted on us, where we're just being aimlessly slaughtered, you understand, will come to an end. This warfare period, which we're going to get into the next article, And that weapon of warfare that they're using against us, you understand, will all come to an end, right? So the title of this one is Number of Teens Who Identify as LGBT Skyrockets, according to the CDC. I find that very interesting that, the CDC is who's reporting, the identification or the, identifier mark, social identifier, whatever the hell sexual social identifier of people. They're the ones who are conducting this survey. Right. I just find that interesting. We all know what they are there for, right? So let's go on. 1 in 4 high school students in the United States identify as homosexual, bisexual, or are questioning their sexuality, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. A quarter of these children in high school are identifying as something other than heterosexual. A quarter of the school. So that you grab 4 random kids, and one of them 4 is going to be a homosexual. Ain't that crazy? The latest edition of the CDC's Youth Risk Behavior Surveillance System found that 74.2% of high school students claim to be exclusively attracted to the opposite sex in 2021. So it's actually less than 3/4 and a little bit more than a quarter, right? So more than a quarter, slightly more than a quarter, identify as other than heterosexual, and slightly less than 3/4 identify as other than, or identify as heterosexual, right? Or straight. Let's get some more though. Of the remaining participants, 11.9% identified as bisexual, 3.2% as gay or lesbian, and 9% as other/questioning. The survey examines the responses of 17,232 students collected in 2021. So now, this is one thing that kind of bugged me. I know for a lot of us, we all became sexually active and got interested in, got interested in the opposite sex and whatnot right around the time that we all came into high school, which is lucky. Which is, that's because everybody starts, having that, we're starting to grow, hormones are changing and whatnot. We're preparing ourselves to get into that, we'll call it that partnership stage of our life. We would find ourselves, a man would find himself a woman, or a woman would allow a man to take her to be had, right? Our bodies are preparing for that stage. Keyword, preparing. You understand? During all of that, when your body is preparing for these things, even though it is kind, it is the kind of the norm for us kids, for when we was kids to, to date and have girlfriends and girls have boyfriends, the whole shebang. Of course, because of the world that we live in, where it's normalized for damn near 10-year-old kids to have sex, it's really not a normal thing. That is not something that we are supposed to be doing. But the reason why it is normalized now is because it's all over TV. Okay, so that's one thing. So of course, when it's talked about almost 24/7 with the music, with the movies, with the television, you understand? Of course, that's going to be one of the main focuses that these children have on their minds is, how can I get a girlfriend, boyfriend? let me have sex, right? So the reality of it is like I had said, that keyword being our bodies are preparing. We shouldn't be having sex. You understand? Us who started having sex at 15, 13, 16, you know, that's way too early. Because just like what we talked about earlier, 23-year-old boy, man, he just got his feet wet into adulthood. So he is an adult. You understand? He is an adult. And I believe, don't mark me on this, but I believe 23 is actually the adulthood age. No, I think it's actually 20. The adulthood age, scripturally, that a man becomes a man somewhere between 20 and 23, right? So again, just getting your feet wet into adulthood. So in other words, you really shouldn't be having sex then, period. So if you shouldn't even be having sex, what shouldn't you be hearing about? Getting educated is one thing, to understand your body functions and this, that, and the other in these schools. I myself, I do support that. That's I myself. So, but mind you, we haven't gotten into the portion of this LGBTQ nonsense that they're talking about in these school surveys and stuff, and that they're teaching in school. It's coming up in a second, right? But these kids are almost being forced immediately to make a decision on the type of person, the person that they are, according to these social norms. How do you know? Well, they're asking these kids, are you heterosexual? Are you bisexual? Are you gay, lesbian? Are you undecided? What are you? Where do you put yourself in this category? So that's putting these children into a box, or into a mindset that I need to put myself into a box now, when my hormones just developed. You understand? Or it's like not just, just developed. They're just coming out. I'm finally starting to become a man. My shoulders start to become broad. My muscles are becoming more defined. My voice is deepening. I'm becoming, me. The first thing that I noticed was, goddamn, my retard strength came out. I was so small. They used to call me Rudy Rudiger because I was so small, but said I had, big heart. Man, the first thing that I noticed as soon as I started coming into my manhood was, man, I got buku strong out of nowhere. Small ass little dude, but I was strong. I was strong, like with a K. You understand? Strong as hell. You understand? We're just getting at that age. You're just getting into your new body. You're just getting familiar with these new hormones. You're just getting familiar with who you are about to become. So in one sense, you can say that these are your childhood years of adulthood. Your childhood is done now, because now you got to learn these different bodily functions and this, that, and the other. You understand? You got this time of the month going on. You got this morning issue, time of the night issue. You understand? You got these bodily functions going on, right? You can't go to a person like that is still adjusting and just coming into that, coming in, starting to blossom into who they're about to be, starting to mature into who they're about to be, and immediately ask them, what box would you put yourself into? They don't even know. You barely even understand what the hell is even going on. You understand? And quite frankly, I gotta say, even for the sisters out there, right? Not that I know for myself, but just I have a little sister. You understand? From my understanding, from what was explained to me, that's a very difficult time for y'all when y'all are first becoming that young woman. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even understand what the hell. I'm having this flow. I'm having my body is really, really changing. Like for men, we just get stronger, our voice get deeper, like I said, and then things start working a little bit more efficiently, and we understand why and what's bringing it forward. You understand? As far as women, they got all sorts of different things going on. Don't even understand it. No matter how much they teach you in school, this is what it is, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't make it any more comfortable for that woman. It doesn't make it any more easier for that woman as she is going through those developing stages to be coming into that beautiful flower that she's going to blossom into. But yet, these school systems, this society finds it fit that these children should have the mental capacity and the self-awareness already to put themselves into a box that says, I'm a heterosexual, bisexual, homosexual, undecided. You know what the majority of those children should be saying? That they don't know. They don't identify with any of those things because they don't know. They shouldn't even be thinking about that stuff. Sure, the thoughts come up where of course, the boy start thinking about girls like, damn, she becoming a woman, and I'm liking what I'm seeing, and of course, a woman, a young lady's gonna say the same thing about them young brothers. Like, wow, I never noticed how broad your shoulders were. I never noticed, your arms are so defined. Whatever. You understand? They just out of nowhere just start to think into these ways. But this school system, the society, this television, this music, man, they're forcing this mindset onto these children. And so this is why I decided to pick this article to read, because what our, the title of this class says, Our Enemy's Warfare and Weapons of Choice. You understand? Hypersexualizing these children as fast as possible is a weapon of choice of our oppressors. You understand? Because now, just think about it. These kids are 10, 12 years old, thinking about having sex with one another. And some of them are actually doing it, which is the wild part. You understand? Today, they're actually doing it with each other. You understand? When you're too caught up in, these sexual acts, you still haven't even figured yourself out. Hell, you don't know anything about school, but you do know that this feels good and you want to keep on doing that. Your focus is going to be on pleasure instead of learning what is actually important. That is one hell of a tactful weapon. That right there is modern. That is modern warfare. You can have all these gadgets and drones and bombs and lasers and whatever the hell crazy sci-fi weaponry you can think of. There is nothing more destructive and modern in warfare than what is going on with this psychological warfare that they are conducting, not on you 30, 40, 50, 60, they're not, the warfare is not you. The warfare is against our children. You understand? They are attacking our children. You understand? That's why these little kid shows, man. I can't remember what the show was called, but it's on Netflix Kids. As soon as I had heard it and seen it, man, I'm gonna cut that shit off. It's lucky for my language, but they sitting there talking about periods and being gay and masturbation and stuff like that, right? Now, mind you, Netflix Kids is basically from, little babies to toddler babies to 7 years old. That's basically the age gap. The age gaps, What 7-year-old needs to know anything about being gay, being, masturbating, having a period? Salakia. Don't want to say that. Having a flow. You understand? What are these young children for what? You understand? But it's to prepare them so that when they come to this age of high school, where you go and discover yourself. And then you discover yourself even further into college. They're prepping you for this new, how do I want to say this mindset. I don't want to say a political term. Okay, so for the lack of a better word, this liberal mindset is what I'm going to go with. In ISUPK, we don't do the whole, political parties, and we don't vote. So don't get that twisted. I'm using liberal mindset just because we all generally know what that means. So what that means and what that is. Right? It's like it. You understand? We all generally know what that is. And it's pretty much everybody being okay with, whoever you are, whatever you are, you can be whatever and whoever, whatever, and it ever that you want to be. That's what I'm saying. They're attacking our children to fight against us. You understand? Because of course, when you are doing your job, teaching your child, it's like when you're not teaching your child, when you're not doing your job to teach your child the things that they need to fight against and steer away from, they're going to raise your child to be in the, again, for a lack of a better word, that liberal mindset. Well, they're going to be okay with that. And in fact, they're going to be a part of that. They're going to be a part of that 25, what is that? What was it? 25.9%, 25.8% who identify other than heterosexual. You understand? When they have no business even trying to put themselves into that box. Like Salaki, I know I got, again, kind of went to got off track with that, but this is something that bugs the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying? That is something that I am not. This school attack, this education attack is ridiculous, and it does hurt the hell out of me. Reading on. The percentage of students with a sexual identity other than heterosexual has increased steadily from 11% in 2015 to 26% in 2021. The CDC added, increases in the percentage of LGBTQ plus students. Oh, so they don't put T in that when it comes to the kids? That's interesting. I just realized that. Salakia. Students in YRBSS 2021, I don't know what that acronym means, so Salakia, might be a result of changes in question wording to include students identifying as questioning. I'm not sure about my sexual identity questioning or other. I describe my sexual identity in some other way. Damn, man. Damn throat. Data compiled by Gallup, released in February, showed that the share of the American population identifying as LGBT had doubled over the past decade, driven by a large share of Generation Z categorizing themselves as something other than heterosexual. The survey examined American self-identification with the LGBT community based on responses from 10,736 adults in the U.S. collected in 2022. General Zers, classified as adults between 97 and 04, have a much larger share of their population identifying as LGBT compared to their older counterparts. And this is where, it starts to tie back into what I was just talking about with the television, with the music. You understand how these things are becoming more and more prominently spoken and seen. With sex, not even just sex. The sexual conversations. Under the umbrella of sexual conversations. But also, the sexual, we'll just leave it at, the sexual identifications, right? This is where this is going to really start to show So like, so older counterparts. Nearly 1 in 5, 19.7%, members of Gen Zers consider themselves part of the LGBT community, right? So just think about that. They basically said Generational Z is after 97. Okay. So just think about the type of television that they've been watching, they grew up with at, at their very young ages when they were in elementary school and middle school going into high school. By contrast, just 11.3% of millennials identify as members of the LGBT community. So then you get a vastly lesser amount. Is that? Yeah, no, it's a solid 8.4% lesser amount with the generation before. And so what is that? Millennials is considered 96 to like 89, 88 or something like that. Depending on what website you read, it's always different. But anyways, it's a whole lot lesser. But think about how less sexual and how much less I don't want to put this, how much less sex there was on television, let alone sexual identities. Yeah, sure, from time to time you would have a show here and there about, there was a man that, is now a woman or whatever in like those sci-fi movies. But also take into consideration the further left that you go onto the timeline, the further left, further back that you go with, these generations of children, their parents were less and less tolerant of the things that they allowed their children to watch. Like me, for example, I wasn't allowed to watch South Park. You understand? I wasn't allowed to watch South Park until I was about in high school. And that was just because I finally got a TV in my own room. And, my mom her room was upstairs, so she couldn't really see what I was watching. But I never really liked it anyways. But you get the point. I wasn't allowed to watch things like South Park. I remember my mother telling me when she was growing up, she wasn't allowed to watch Married with Kids and The Simpsons. They wasn't allowed to watch that growing up. Which, everybody watch Simpsons now. You understand? And Married with Kids might be a little bit too old for some of y'all, that ain't hip to it. But the crazy thing is Married with Kids is a great reflection of what the white nuclear family became into today, where kids are just, you ever wonder why, these white kids be talking back to their parents and whatnot? Man, it's because of Married with that, shows like Married with Kids. You understand? It groomed those children into thinking that way, into acting like that it's okay for your kids to talk to you. It's like to talk to you crazy, like like they ain't got no doggone sense. It's like not in my house. I whoop kids. It's lucky. You understand? So now when you look at today, today's children, especially with these, with these white children, where they'll have mommy and daddy in the house and the kids still act like a goddamn fool. Why? Because their mommy and daddy grew up watching them TV shows and listening to that music and, being basically formed by the social norms, so that when it was time for them to be in that position, they acting just like what they saw. You understand? And so what do you think is going to happen? And it's happening time and time again. Now they're pushing more and more sexual content into the media, into television, into social media. God damn it. I think that is the craziest thing. Salaki, let me just sidebar on that really, really quick. We can't talk about unaliving somebody unaliving themselves. But these whorish women can put their naked ass on Facebook. I'm sorry, they have a little string going down their ass crack. Slovakia. So you can have just a piece of string, wearing nothing but a piece of string and showing your whole ass on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, those are the only two social networking that I'm on. And that won't get banned. But if you talk about somebody unaliving themselves, you can get banned. If you talk about how there's something wrong with the Christian church, you can get banned. Hell, there's brothers and sisters that get banned all the time in the UPK because they're bringing some sort of historical facts. You understand? They're bringing historical truths and they get banned. But this whole sexualization doesn't get you banned. Doesn't get you taken off the internet. It stays on there forever. You understand? This is that type of warfare that they're not fighting with you. They are trying to push on the children. So that when it goes to the next generation, man, it's gonna be so doggone I ain't gonna, man, if it comes to that, I pray that Yahushua does return. I'll be damned if let me just stop. Things are just going to keep getting worse before it finally gets better. And quite frankly, the only way that it's going to get better is Yahushua Mashiach returning and with that sword, you understand, bringing death and destruction onto these other nations. And that's really the whole point to me even teaching this topic, having this class with y'all in the first place, is for y'all to understand. You understand the warfare that is being conducted against you and our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? Let's finish this article. We're almost done with it. All right. So nearly 1 in 5, 19.7 members of Gen Zers consider themselves part of the LGBT community. By contrast, just 11.3% of millennials identify as members of the LGBT community, followed by 3.3% of members of Generation X, 2.7% of baby boomers, and 1.7% of the silent generation. So the further that you go to the left, the less we'll say broadcast production, not programs, broadcasted programs are being utilized, the less LGBT community, the less of the LGBT alphabet community there is. You understand? Which is a key identifier of not only of just the warfare, but the agenda that is being pushed. You understand? Generation X consists of Americans born between 65 and 80. Baby boomers are those born before, baby boomers are those born between 46 and 64. And the silent generation comprises Americans before 1946. Most of them should be dead, Slovakia. Most of them. Among the LGBT identified members of Gen Z, 13.1% identify as bisexual, 3.4% describe themselves as gay, 2.2% consider themselves lesbians, 1.9% categorize themselves as trans identified, while 1.5% select the other LGBT category when asked about their sexual orientation. Overall, the share of Americans who identify as LGBT reached a record high of 7.2% in 2022, a slight increase from the 7.1% measured in 2021, and the 5.6% measured in 2020. In 2012, the first year Gallup collected data on LGBT identification. Just 3.5% of Americans embraced the label. Similarly, Gen Z post-election research polls conducted by the Walton Family Foundation and Murmuration in conjunction with Social Sphere and released in February found that Gen Zers were much more likely than older generation to identify as either gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or some other form of queer. Only 75% of Gen Z respondents called themselves heterosexual or straight, an identification embraced by 90% or 92% of older adults. That's a big margin. 92% versus 75%. That's a big margin. 9% of Gen Z respondents consider themselves bisexual, as did 3% of adults aged 26 and older. The survey measured the share of gay respondents at 2% among Gen Z and 1% among all other adults. The percentage of respondents who identified as lesbians came in at 1% among Gen Z respondents and less than 1% among older adults. A noticeably higher share of Gen Z respondents reported having an other queer identity, 4%, and categorized themselves as transgender or non-binary at 4%, while less than 1% of adults 26 placed themselves into each category. You understand? So, of course, later on, so it seems like as these as they got a little bit older, the numbers dwindled down a tad bit, right? Give or take. And that's also part of the reason why you shouldn't be asking children, who are just going through their development phase of maturing into these new bodies, what box do you fit in? Are you bisexual? Are you this, that? You understand? That's ridiculous. You understand? They're still learning how to rerun all over again because, you understand, this young brother is about to hit a goddamn growth spurt where he's about to grow 6 inches taller in just this summer. You understand? So he damn near has to relearn how to run all over again because now he's super lanky. And he's super awkward now. And I actually knew people who grew up like that, or, that I went to high school with, who had big ass spurts like that. And for a good couple months, man, they walked around and ran super awkward. But then once they got it down, they got used to that new body, goddamn, they shown that they natural athletes. You understand? And even before they had the spurt, you could tell that they were natural athletes. You understand? You expected them to be natural athletes, but then they got that awkward spurt, and then it was awkward for a little bit. They got used to it, and then boom, it was even better. You understand? And you're going to ask that person, oh, what do you identify as? Like, come on. Like, that's ridiculous. All right. So we're going to get a couple scriptures on that. We might be ending this a little bit early. We'll see. That's okay. All right. We're going to get a couple scriptures on this topic and then get up out of here. All right. So first off, where I want to start with this is the book of John, chapter 8, verses 44 through 45. Let me get there myself. Whoops. No way. All right. Oh, 8. I went to chapter 4. Okay, there we go. Yeah, because I knew it was written in red. All right. So this is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44, verse through 45. And this is written in red, which means Yahushua Mashiach in the Hebrew, our King, or as the world ignorantly knows him as is in English as Jesus Christ. He is speaking. All right. So this is the book of John, chapter 8, verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, ye believe me not. You understand? So this right here, the reason why I wanted to start with this these two verses with this topic, with this article first, is because of the fact that, of course, I was going in to explain to y'all, the title of this class, the warfare that is being fought with, with us. It seems like, the physical warfare, we're the ones who get the bullets. We're the ones who get beaten. The as far as, the adults is the we, Salakia, which, I would rather that than the women and the children personally, rather not at all, but you get what I'm saying. You understand? But then as far as our children, they're getting the psychological warfare where it's prepping the next generation to, again, have that more of a liberal mindset. You understand? So that the agenda can continue to be pushed further and further. You understand? And of course, those that are in the world are going to dispute the things that I am factually speaking on. You understand? Because at the end of the day, your father is the devil. You understand? Whether you yourself are a devil or, you are still under, you're still in the world. Your spiritual father is still the devil. Your daddy is still that white man. You understand? You're still in love with the oppressor. You understand? Your father is still the devil. And the only thing that you are worried about is the lies that make you feel good instead of just having that bittersweet truth. You understand? Yeah, sure. It's bitter. It sucks at first, but, so does medicine. When you're sick, you need medicine. And that medicine never tastes good. You understand? But once it gets through your system and your body, your body is working with it all hand in hand, and so that you can eradicate whatever impurities, whatever sickness, ailment that you have in your body. Now you feel good. You might even feel even better. You understand? That's literally what this truth is. That's literally you just hearing and understanding what is going on in this world and accepting it for what it is. Not in the context of, oh, I'm just accepting it, and like there's nothing I can do about it. What I mean is you accepting it as it is that this is something that you cannot change as far as how these people are, who your enemies are and how they are. You cannot change them. Just to paraphrase, the scripture where it says that you cannot make straight what was made crooked. Man, that's the Lord made them crooked, made them wicked for a reason. You understand? And you cannot make them straight. You understand? So understanding that this warfare that is being put together, this warfare that is being fought against us is all it's all from the devil. You understand? That being the so-called white man that the Bible speaks of. It's the so-called white man. You understand? Whom of which is the devil that the Bible speaks of. So like it. You understand? And of course, we know historically, factually, we know that some of the lusts that the so-called white man has is basically revolves around this LGBTQ, Y, and Z. Oh, can't forget the P because pedophilia is on the way to be included in that acronym, right? I'm actually convinced that plus is just a P in disguise, but hey, whatever. But that entire mindset, that entire community lifestyle. Thank you. There we go. So like lifestyle, that alternative lifestyle that dates all the way back to not ancient Egypt, but it was extremely prominent in the Greek and the Roman eras with those civilizations. It was even to the point, like take for example, a lot of people talked about how, what was his name? Alexander the Great, General Alexander, how he had his dealings with Cleopatra and this, that, and the other. A lot of people don't know that Alexander, his true lover, was one of his generals, which was a man. You understand? His lover was a man. He had a wife. He did have children, but the Greeks and the Romans, part of their culture was to basically just use women for procreation. You understand? It was just to reproduce, just to have children, so that they can have sons. You understand? But aside from that, they were homosexuals and pedophiles at that. I can't think of what the word is called. You can look it up yourselves. Just be careful with how you word it in Google, so that because I don't want y'all typing in the wrong thing, and then now you got the FBI, coming down your throat because you looked up, you Googled the wrong thing on freaking Google. You understand? But it's a Greek practice. I can describe it. It's basically a Greek practice where an older man would find a child between like the ages of like 7 and 10 years old and would court them. And part of the flirtation was believing that when the man would make the advances on the child, that was actually the child flirting back. And once the child denied him in a certain manner, that meant that the child is ready for the next stage. Now, a lot of people call it's basically grooming. You understand? They begin to groom these children. So, like, especially when you would read like books about like philosophy, Greek and Roman philosophers, where they would always have, like the philosopher would be like 30 or 40 years old. And there was always like a young assistant, which was like 20, 15, something like that. Those were young boy victims of this grooming process, where that boy basically becomes that philosopher's bitch. That is his boy toy, where he grooms him from the time that they're like 7 years old. So, and the thing is like, this is also something that is discussed between the man and the boy's parents. So this is a disgusting custom that has risen up again in this on this earth. You understand? It's, first of all, we all know that there's nothing new under the sun. Of course, Ecclesiastes 1 and 10. Or was that 1 and 9? But you understand? These are tactics. This is a lifestyle that they are tactfully pushing onto other people. And whatever they push on the Chinese, Japanese, African booty scratchers, what have you, I could care less. My problem, my issue is the warfare that is being pushed on, whom of which is also the main target, is Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? We are the primary focus of the indoctrination into all of this LGBTQ and P plus. You understand? We are the main primary target of this. You understand? And that's to be a part of those, the disgusting, lustful ways. You understand? Of the devil. Right? And then, so we're going to drop that. Right? So, author of confusion with the next one. Of confusion. All right. So, like what we were talking about in that article with, man, these children being, pushed, like just coming into their new bodies, just, their bodies finally going into that maturing state, that maturing stage. You understand? This is them beginning to discover who they are, but being pushed into that, they're pushed into a state of confusion. You understand? And the Bible was written in a certain way, was given to us in a certain way, so that we would all understand that, there should be no confusion. You understand? There is no confusion of when a man is a man, becomes a man, and when a woman is ready to be married off. You understand? Which is actually very simple. The Bible made it very simple. When her father says she's ready to be married, that's simple. You understand? So, of course, her father is going to, how I want to put it, he's going to be aware of his daughter going through the process of blooming into a mature woman, into the flower that she is. He's aware of it, right? But when she's actually ready for marriage, it's his decision. So of course he's going to allow her to bloom into that woman, right? To bloom into, fully bloom, so that, everything's all settled. She is of age, right? She is of maturity to be had, not like what these fake Israelite camps be talking about, that you can, you can, like, as soon as a little girl has her first flow, you can have her. Like, that's ridiculous. Because like what we talked about, I was talking about earlier, you understand, is like that's part of your body, her body, adjusting into that new, that new maturity portion of its lifetime. You understand? So that makes no sense, right? The father decides, you know what, you're ready, you're not ready for marriage. And of course, could be dealing with young men. So it's obviously going to be, it's going to be men who are of age, but they also get vetted out by a woman's father. You understand? So there is none of this confusion of, and then let us also not forget and focus on the fact that I didn't say anything about a boy going to a father about his boy, or a woman going to a woman about her daughter, and none of that same sex nonsense. You understand? So there is no confusion. It's simple. It's as simple as a transaction between a man taking another man's daughter to take as his own. That's the only marriage transaction that can be conducted according to the Bible. You understand? And of course, I have to emphasize according to the Bible, because hell, these doggone churches and law houses and whatnot, by the power that was invested to them by the state of whatever state they're in, and by God, you understand? No, that is not by God. God does not stand for any of that type of homosexuality in the first place, right? Let's read on that real quick. That type of confusion. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. You understand? So that lets you know that the priests and prophets, the saints of the Lord, man, we are all on the same page as what the Most High God is on. We want the same things. We love the same things, and we hate the same things that the Most High God hates, loves, and wants. You understand? So, of course, so it says, for God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So we're not reading confusion. We're not teaching confusion. What we are teaching and reading is about peace when we read out of this Bible. You understand? That's the word that we are giving our people, is of peace. You understand? So when your child is being put into a situation when they're just becoming a young man, just becoming a young woman, you understand, they're setting them up to be confused. And the confusion begins at the very beginning. But this is why it's so important to be in the ISUPK, because we actually teach, our brothers and sisters, to teach our children at a young age to basically be aware of the world being like this, but to also teach our young ones who they are and what they are before anybody is able to put their hands on their minds and try to manipulate them in any way that they want to form their minds into. You understand? Because you know what, quite frankly, my house is going, for me and my house, we are going to serve the Lord. Y'all can do what y'all want. You understand? You can allow your kids to talk to you crazy, to run amok crazy, to y'all just be crazy. I don't give a damn. You understand? For my family, me and mine, you understand, we're going to serve the Lord, and we are not going to be confused. There will be no dispute of whether or not your gender fluidity is male or female today, or if you like boys or if you like girls today. You understand? Quite frankly, if you're going to be called under my house to be called a son or daughter of a Rock Bun Yahawada, your sexual orientation is focused on the opposite sex that you are born as biologically. That is the only option for my children. And quite frankly, I mean, hey, you don't want you want to buy into all this how you say the social norms and what happened and whatnot. Like I said, as far as me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You are excluding yourself from being called under my house. Just like if you do not decide to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High God will not call you as his own. You understand? And again, we, the priests and prophets of the Lord, we hate and love and do as the Lord, as the Most High God hates and loves and commands us to do. You understand? So watch it. You understand? So, and that's what keeps us from the confusion. That's what keeps us holy or separate. You understand? Where there is no, of course, we are worried to an extent of what's happening in the schools and what's being taught with all of this confusion, because you know what, quite frankly, all of us in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, and of course the Most High God, Salakia, the Most High God and Yahweh Shai Mashiach, man, we all love our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So we are concerned in that regard, because we don't want our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to be destroyed any more or any longer. You understand? That's why we have these classes, to edify our people, to pull them out of the world that is just keeping their foot on the back of your neck, keeping you from breathing. You understand? Just because you're trying to make a hustle. You understand? So that's actually going to be it for this topic in class. You understand? I'm Priest and Officer 500, a Rock Ben Yahawada, out here in ISUPK Las Vegas. You understand? This is the ISUPK on the 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. With that, class dismissed.